You close your eyes, you turn off the light, and then nothing. The house is quiet. The clock ticks louder with each hour that passes. You toss, you turn, you adjust the pillow, you check the time again. 2 a.m., still awake, still waiting. In fact, over 50% of adults over the age of 65 in the United States report problems with sleep. And for many, it's not just falling asleep, it's staying asleep or waking up feeling like you never rested at all. And what do most of us do? We reach for sleeping pills. A little something to take the edge off, a prescription here, an over-the-counter solution there. But here's the truth that too few people say out loud. Sleep medications are not long-term answers. They often come with side effects, grogginess, memory issues, even increased risk of falls. And worst of all, for many people, they stop working over time. What once brought relief now feels like a fog. But what if there were gentler ways to support your sleep? Ways that work with your body, not against it. In this video, we're exploring 10 of the best natural sleep-friendly foods that can help older adults fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up feeling more like themselves. These aren't fads. These are quiet, proven sources of nutrients, like tryptophan, melatonin, magnesium, and antioxidants that the body recognizes and welcomes. From tart cherries to warm milk, from kiwi to fermented foods, this list may surprise you. And more importantly, it may remind you that better sleep doesn't have to come in a bottle. It can begin with what's on your plate. 1. Kiwi. It's a small fruit, fuzzy on the outside, bright green and sweet on the inside. You've probably had it sliced in a fruit salad, maybe served at a hotel breakfast buffet. Harmless. Simple. But hidden in that small kiwi is something quietly remarkable, something that could change the way you sleep. Back in 2011, a team of researchers at Taipei Medical University in Taiwan began studying the impact of kiwi on sleep. They weren't testing medication or supplements, just fruit. They recruited 24 adults who struggled with mild insomnia, people who found it hard to fall asleep or woke frequently during the night. Every evening, the participants were asked to eat 2 kiwis 1 hour before bed for 4 straight weeks. The results? Not subtle. They fell asleep 42% faster. They slept 13% longer. And their sleep efficiency, that's how much time in bed was actually spent sleeping, increased by over 5%. And all of this happened naturally, with no side effects. That kind of improvement from something so ordinary almost sounds too good to be true. But it's not a miracle. It's science. You see, kiwi is rich in serotonin, the brain chemical that helps regulate your body's internal clock. Serotonin is what tells your brain when it's time to start winding down, and it plays a critical role in the production of melatonin, the hormone that actually puts you to sleep. On top of that, kiwi is high in antioxidants like vitamin C and E, folate, and potassium, all of which support a healthy nervous system, reduce oxidative stress, and calm the body. Even magnesium, which many older adults are deficient in, shows up in this little fruit. But here's what most people never hear. The skin of the kiwi, the fuzzy part we almost always peel and throw away, is packed with fiber and even more antioxidants. Some nutritionists now suggest that eating the skin after washing thoroughly may increase digestive benefits, which are closely tied to improved sleep via the gut-brain axis. It's not for everyone, but it's a small change that could make a quiet difference. 2. Tart cherries. At first glance, tart cherries seem ordinary, maybe even unpleasant. They're not the sweet cherries you snack on in summer. They're sharp, sour, the kind you'd expect in a pie or maybe a syrup, but not on their own. And yet, hidden in their bitterness is something profoundly gentle, the ability to help you sleep. Not through force, like a sedative, but through support, like a familiar voice that tells your body, you can rest now. Researchers from the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Rochester, 2010, conducted a small but rigorous study involving older adults who struggled with chronic insomnia. These weren't people who just had a bad night or two. This was long-term, life-altering sleeplessness. The researchers asked them to drink 8 ounces of Tart cherry juice in the morning and again in the evening, 1 to 2 hours before bed, for 2 full weeks. The results were quietly astonishing. Participants slept longer, experienced fewer nighttime awakenings, and reported feeling more rested. In fact, later studies would find that Tart cherry juice increased sleep time by up to 84 minutes per night, more than many over-the-counter sleep aids, and without the side effects. That's not a claim. It's published data from peer-reviewed research, including a 2014 clinical trial led by Louisiana State University. What makes tart cherries so effective? They're one of the only natural food sources of melatonin, the hormone your brain releases when it's time to sleep. But even more interesting, they contain procyanidins, a class of antioxidant compounds that help preserve tryptophan, which your body uses to make serotonin and melatonin. In other words, they don't just give you sleep chemicals. They help your body hold onto the ones it already has. And for people whose melatonin production has slowed with age, that matters. Drinking tart cherry juice isn't like taking a pill. It's not a jolt. It's not even an instant change. But if you make it part of your nightly rhythm, maybe a small glass while brushing your teeth or reading in bed, it becomes a signal to your body that the day is winding down. And over time, your sleep begins to respond. It's not magic. It's biology, gently supported by a fruit most of us have forgotten. 3. Brown rice. Brown rice doesn't look like much. It's not glamorous. It's not trendy. It doesn't show up on lists of superfoods with names you can't pronounce. But for generations across the world, especially in Japan, Korea, and parts of India, brown rice has been more than food. It's been a foundation. And when it comes to sleep, it turns out this humble grain might be doing more behind the scenes than we ever realized. In 2014, researchers in Japan published a large-scale population study in PLOS-1. They tracked the sleep habits and diets of over 1,800 adults and found that those who ate rice regularly, particularly whole grain forms like brown rice, reported significantly better sleep quality than those who favored bread or noodles. The difference wasn't subtle. People who consumed rice had fewer sleep disturbances, less trouble falling asleep, and a greater sense of restfulness upon waking. In contrast, diets high in noodles were associated with worse sleep scores. It wasn't just about carbs. It was about the kind of carbs. Brown rice is a complex carbohydrate, meaning it breaks down slowly and steadily in your body. That gradual digestion helps raise the availability of tryptophan, the amino acid that's used to create serotonin, and from serotonin, melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to rest. Unlike sugar or processed foods, brown rice doesn't create a crash. It provides slow, stable energy that lets your body glide into sleep instead of falling into it like a collapse. What's more, certain varieties like jasmine brown rice or black rice contain trace amounts of plant-based melatonin. It's not enough to replace a supplement, but in the context of an overall evening routine, it matters. The routine of a warm dinner, the comfort of something earthy and nourishing. It's more than food. It's rhythm. It's signal. It's grounding. When paired with steamed vegetables or a bit of protein like turkey or tofu, brown rice becomes part of your body's internal bedtime routine, a quiet cue that the day is over, that you are full, that it is safe to let go. In a world full of quick fixes, brown rice reminds us that sleep doesn't need to be forced. Sometimes it just needs to be invited with warmth and care and something you've known all along. 4. Turkey. We joke about it every Thanksgiving, the post-turkey nap. Uncle Joe asleep in the recliner before dessert even hits the table. We've blamed the turkey for years. Must be the tryptophan, we say. But is there truth in the tradition? Or is it just the mashed potatoes catching up with us? Well, science says a bit of both. But turkey, especially when eaten as part of a balanced evening meal, really can support better sleep. It's one of the richest natural sources of L-tryptophan, an amino acid your body uses to make serotonin, and eventually, melatonin, the hormone that governs your sleep-wake cycle. And unlike synthetic melatonin supplements, which often overshoot the body's natural rhythms, turkey supports your brain's own internal process. It doesn't push, it encourages. But the benefits go beyond tryptophan. Turkey also contains high-quality protein, which helps stabilize blood sugar throughout the night. And for older adults who may struggle with muscle maintenance, that protein helps rebuild tissue and support healthy metabolism, even while you sleep. Add in nutrients like selenium, B6, and niacin, and you've got a food that not only calms your nervous system, but supports your overall health in the process. Here's where it gets interesting. A 2006 study in the Journal of Psychiatric Research found that diets higher in tryptophan were associated with significantly improved sleep latency and duration, especially when paired with carbohydrates at dinner. In other words, that turkey and brown rice combo? It's not just comfort food, it's biology at work. The key is to keep it light. This isn't about a holiday feast. It's about a simple, balanced dinner. 3 or 4 ounces of roasted turkey, a bit of rice or sweet potato, some steamed greens. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be intentional. What's beautiful about turkey is that it comes with no marketing label, no promises, no sleep guarantee. It's just honest food with a calming effect that's been quietly helping people rest for generations. Sometimes, the traditions we laugh about have truth hidden underneath. And maybe Uncle Joe was onto something all along. 5. Almonds and walnuts, your tiny nighttime allies. You walk into the kitchen, maybe just looking for a little snack to settle the evening. You reach into that jar of mixed nuts, almonds and walnuts mostly, and toss a handful onto your palm. Crunchy, comforting, familiar. What you may not realize is that handful might just be the most underrated sleep remedy in your kitchen. Let's start with almonds. These little guys are surprisingly rich in melatonin, the natural hormone your body makes to regulate sleep. They also contain magnesium, a mineral that plays a key role in relaxing muscles and quieting your nerves. Just 1 ounce, about 23 almonds, offers a steady stream of sleep-supporting nutrients that don't knock you out, but rather help you wind down naturally. Walnuts bring something extra to the table. They're one of the best plant-based sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which not only support brain and heart health, but also help regulate serotonin levels, the precursor to melatonin. Even more fascinating, a study published in the Nutrition Journal found that walnuts naturally contain melatonin too, giving them a double dose of sleep-enhancing potential. These nuts don't work like medication. They won't suddenly make you drowsy or force your eyes to close. What they do is gentler. They help support the natural sleep processes already happening in your body. Think of them as little messengers, telling your brain, it's okay to slow down now. The best part? They're easy to fit into your routine. A handful after dinner, a spoon of almond butter on toast, maybe some walnuts tossed into oatmeal or yogurt. You're not changing your lifestyle. You're just letting your food quietly help you heal. And hey, if someone catches you snacking before bed, just tell them this. I'm not eating late. I'm negotiating with my sleep hormones. The almonds always win. 6. Warm milk, a hug in a mug. There's something about a warm mug of milk that feels like childhood. Safe, slow, and soft. Maybe it's the scent. Maybe it's the warmth in your hands. Or maybe, just maybe, your body remembers something your mind forgot. Milk really can help you sleep. We've heard it for generations, but science now gives this age-old ritual real credit. Milk contains tryptophan, an amino acid that your brain uses to produce serotonin and, eventually, melatonin. This chain of chemistry is what signals your brain it's time to wind down. But milk doesn't stop there. It also provides calcium, which helps the brain use that tryptophan effectively. Some versions of milk, especially those processed at night, contain higher natural levels of melatonin. In fact, a 2019 animal study published in Journal of Medicinal Food found that night milk had measurable sedative effects in mice due to increased melatonin and a calming compound called alpha-casozepine. This molecule mimics the action of GABA, a neurotransmitter that reduces anxiety and promotes sleep. Don't worry, you don't need to track down moon milk or specialty products. Any warm milk, when part of a regular bedtime routine, can act like a subtle signal to your body. We're winding down now. You're safe. You're full. You're home. There's no flash, no drama, just a moment of comfort. Sometimes we don't need something to knock us out. We just need a warm reminder that the day is done. 7. Fermented foods, gut feelings that help you sleep. You've probably heard, listen to your gut more times than you can count. But what if your gut, literally, had something to say about how well you sleep? Fermented foods like kefir, yogurt, miso, sauerkraut, and even kimchi aren't just trendy. They're loaded with probiotics, beneficial bacteria that help balance your gut microbiome. And research continues to show that your gut and your brain are in constant communication, especially through the gut-brain axis, a two-way system that connects digestive health to mood, immune function, and yes, sleep. In 2017, a review published in Frontiers in Psychiatry examined how probiotics could influence sleep. The findings? Certain strains of probiotics can increase GABA production, a neurotransmitter that has calming, anti-anxiety effects. Some strains even improved sleep quality directly, helping people fall asleep faster and wake up less frequently during the night. Fermented dairy in particular, like kefir or full-fat yogurt, offers both tryptophan and probiotics, creating a gentle, natural support system for your sleep hormones. Miso broth, sipped warm in the evening, provides gut-calming fermentation, plus soothing warmth. Even sauerkraut, when eaten earlier in the evening, can assist digestion and regulate cortisol, a stress hormone linked to poor sleep. The beauty of fermented foods is that they ask for so little. A spoon of yogurt, a half cup of kefir, a bowl of broth. Nothing complicated. But over time, they quietly shift your body's rhythm into something calmer, more grounded, more ready for rest. And here's a little joke to end your day with a smile. I told my gut to chill out. It replied with burps and better sleep. Guess we finally understand each other. 8. Strawberries. Strawberries have always felt like a symbol of joy. They remind you of picnics, of summertime, of reaching for something fresh and bright. But here's what no one told us growing up. That same little berry might be one of the most underrated allies in our journey to better sleep. It's easy to overlook them. They're familiar, simple, but sometimes the most powerful things are right there in front of us, waiting to be seen differently. Strawberries are naturally high in antioxidants, those tiny warriors that help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, both of which have been linked to restless nights and poor sleep quality. What's more, strawberries contain a little something extra, melatonin. Yes, the very same hormone your brain produces when it's time to sleep, and not in synthetic form. It's gentle, it's food-based, and it's welcomed by the body like an old friend. A handful of strawberries in the evening can do more than please your palate. It can help calm your nervous system, lower your stress, and soften the mental chatter that sometimes keeps us up. Especially when you're winding down after a long day, that natural sweetness paired with the soothing effect it has on your body can become a small but powerful bedtime ritual. No need for complicated recipes. Just a bowl of fresh strawberries, maybe sliced on a bit of yogurt, or eaten slowly one by one as you sit on the porch watching the light dim. Over time, you may find that the act of slowing down, of choosing something nourishing and kind, becomes its own invitation to sleep. Sometimes we expect the solution to come in a bottle or through a prescription pad, but occasionally it comes in something simple, red and quietly brilliant, right in the palm of your hand. 9. Sweet potatoes. There's something nostalgic about sweet potatoes. Maybe it's the smell of them roasting in the oven, the way the skin caramelizes just a little, or how they always seem to find their way into family dinners. But here's a little secret most folks don't realize. Sweet potatoes are more than comfort food. They might just be one of the most sleep-supportive foods you've had sitting in your kitchen all along. Unlike starchy snacks that spike your blood sugar and leave you jittery, sweet potatoes are complex carbohydrates. They break down slowly, keeping your blood sugar stable through the night. But they don't stop there. They're also rich in potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B6, all of which help relax muscles, ease nerve tension, and support the natural production of melatonin. And here's the twist. Sweet potatoes help your body absorb tryptophan more effectively. You've probably heard of tryptophan in turkey, but what good is it if it never reaches your brain? The slow-digesting carbs in sweet potatoes act like a bridge, helping tryptophan cross into your brain, where it's turned into serotonin and then melatonin, your body's own sleep signal. You don't need a fancy recipe. A small baked sweet potato at dinner, maybe with a bit of olive oil or cinnamon, is enough to send your body the message: we're wrapping up. We're winding down. There's something poetic about it, really. That something so sweet, so humble can do so much. In a world full of lab-made sleep aids and complicated fixes, here comes a food your grandmother probably served, bringing you back to rest the way nature intended. It's not loud. It doesn't promise instant knockout sleep. But give it a few nights, and you may find yourself drifting off more easily, comforted not just by the food, but by the care you've given yourself in choosing it. 10. Matcha. Matcha might seem like a trendy drink from younger generations. A bright green powder whisked into hot water, full of caffeine and excitement. But hidden inside that vibrant green is something older, deeper, and surprisingly suited for sleep. Unlike regular green tea, matcha uses the entire leaf, ground finely into a powder. That means you get more nutrients, more antioxidants, and yes, more L-theanine, that calming compound we talked about earlier. The caffeine is there, but it's balanced. Instead of spiking your energy and crashing later, matcha lifts you gently and lets you down even more gently. When used intentionally, not at night, but earlier in the afternoon, matcha can help regulate your energy through the rest of the day, so you're not overstimulated in the evening. It helps prevent that wired but tired feeling we sometimes get after coffee. And its natural compounds support brain clarity, stress reduction, and mental focus, all of which lead to a more peaceful bedtime, without you even noticing. But perhaps the real beauty of matcha lies in the ritual, the whisk, the cup, the stillness. It's not something you gulp down, it's something you experience. That moment of preparation and quiet is a form of mindfulness, a meditation in motion that tells your whole system, you are allowed to slow down. The irony is, the drink people think of as energizing is actually, when used wisely, one of the most grounding. A soft nudge toward balance, and in a world that's always moving, that might be the most sleep-friendly message of all. Well, if you're still awake by now, either I did something wrong or you really needed this. Remember, you don't have to fight your sleep like it's a burglar. Sometimes all it takes is a kiwi, a handful of almonds, or a potato with purpose. Try one thing tonight, and if it works, great. If not, at least you didn't fall asleep hungry. Sweet dreams, my friend. You've earned them. And if you see a walnut in your bed, don't worry. It's probably just your new sleep coach. Good night.